Hello, friends and residency candidates, and welcome to today's success story interview, where I have the pleasure of speaking with one of our featured applicants through our Residency Prep vlog series, Dr. Tatjana Blazin. So welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your match? What specialty did you match into, and what program are you going to be a part of?
So I matched the internal medicine program at Beaumont Royal Oak in Michigan, which was my top choice. So I'm very happy. And I just want to add that I also had two top choices since the beginning. So I had a really hard time deciding which program to put as my first choice and which one as my second. But I think I made the right decision at the end. And I'm very happy to be joining this program in a few months.
That's incredible. What were some of the things that you were weighing when you were trying to make that decision? What led to you putting one over the other?
So location was very important for me at the beginning because I have some connections to East Coast. However, when I put everything on paper, pluses and minuses of both programs, I decided because this program where I matched also offers in-house fellowship opportunities, and it's strong academically. And since I do prefer a program with a fellowship, in-house fellowship, and I do prefer to have an opportunity to be involved in research and to write papers during my residency, I think that was the biggest reason to choosing this program over the other one. Also, another important thing for me was H-1B visa. But in this case, both of the programs were sponsoring H-1B, so that wasn't a problem. And I never been to Michigan, honestly, even though I did travel a lot in United States because I was living there for the last few years. So I was scared. I wanted to be somewhere where I already know the area, where I knew the people. But at the end, I actually decided to go to some place where I don't know anyone, where I'm going to go alone. And also, I'm not excited about Michigan winters, but I'll get used to it probably. Yeah,
It's going to build character, if nothing else.
definitely.
And so, did you always know that you wanted to pursue internal medicine? Did you apply to multiple specialties?
So I applied only to internal medicine. I had a moment when I was a student where I wanted to be anesthesiologist, but then after spending some time in the hospital with them, I decided that that's maybe not for me. I still find it quite interesting, but I just decided throughout my rotations as I was a student that internal medicine is something that I definitely find myself doing in the future. And also I like the opportunity that we have such a variety of fellowship to pursue after internal medicine. So I really like that option. And now when I applied only to 145 programs, only internal medicine and nothing else. So I didn't have any problem in deciding or applying to multiple specialties or anything like that.
How did you decide which programs that you were going to apply to?
So that was actually the most difficult part for me. Because I didn't have a lot of friends who are already in residency to ask. To be specific, I only knew one friend who is a resident in US. So I actually used Match Resident customized program list, which helped me a lot. Otherwise, honestly, I wouldn't be able to start. Everything else is so there's so many programs to choose from, so I didn't have any guidance how to choose programs where I would have a chance to get an interview and how to explore and to get all the details about the programs. So I used Match Resident customized program list, and then when I entered my credentials, I got a list around, I think I had around 400 programs, and then I was just yeah, but still it's less than if I use just Residency Explorer or Frida. And then I just checked, I just eliminated some states where I didn't want to go. And then the list was shorter, around 300 programs, I think, or 200 something. And then I just checked all the programs, all the information on Match Resident, and then I tapped the same program in Residency Explorer to get some more information. And then I was making my list in Match Resident because there is an option save and applied to, if I'm not wrong. So then I made the list in Match Resident, and then I still had more than 200 programs, but I didn't have a finances to apply to so many programs. So I just shortened my list to 145, still using Match Resident, and also that score and number of interviews that similar candidates as me got in that program, that also helped me. So that was the way how I chose programs.
That sounds perfect. I mean, we always say that the customized list can be a starting point for the program research to, refine this huge possibility pool of programs into, that list that eventually you're going to apply to. So that's amazing to hear. How many interviews did you end up taking?
I got 10 interviews, which I'm very satisfied because I actually expected I will get maybe 2 or 3 maximum. So I was very excited and surprised. And I just want to say that the program where I matched, I got an interview. I'm not sure when, I think it was November, December, but the interview was scheduled for 31st of January, which is the end of the season. And the rank list opened beginning of February. And I actually changed my mind 2 days before rank order list. I already had my rank order list. I had my top choice. And then everything changed literally 2 days before submission of rank order list. So that can happen. Even though I was 100% sure where I want to go and which program is my top choice, everything changed after one interview. So that can happen. And also I got 2 invitations the end of beginning of January, which I think a lot of candidates are asking me. They think the interview season is over in December, but it is not. You can get interviews even in January. I was also surprised, pleasantly surprised, but I did got 2 invites in January.
And that just goes to show you that some programs are looking at applicants throughout the entire cycle and looking at, the people that maybe they didn't invite for the first round, but that they're still strongly considering. And so it sounds like that was the case for you. And that's the program that you ended up matching to. Am I correct?
They did send me invite earlier. I just scheduled the interview later because they didn't have any available dates before that. But they did send me interview. I think in November. Just the date of the interview was very late.
Gotcha. And so how did your interviews go? Was there anything you were surprised about? Did you feel comfortable going into your interviews?
So the first interview was very scary for me, to be honest, because I did prepare with my friends. Specifically, we prepared to answer the most commonly asked questions, like tell me about yourself, your weaknesses, and questions like that. So I was prepared, but in the same time, I consider myself very talkative and friendly, and then I was afraid that I will came across as unprofessional. So I was very stiff the first interview, and that was very weird for me. I don't think I represented myself the way I actually am. So the first interview, I'm not sure how I represented myself. I was not satisfied. I'm not sure about the feedback. Some programs did give me feedback. They answered to my thank you email. Some didn't, but that's just the policy of the programs. And afterwards, I think after my third interview, I was very relaxed. And then I think I was looking forward to each interview, to meet people, to talk with them. And I think I represented myself in way, way better light later on. So the program where I matched, maybe it's good, maybe it's destiny that I had it as my last interview because I was already so in practice for interviews. I did have a common ask questions, and I also had some strange questions that I was not prepared for. I don't know if I answered good or not, but I did have some, I think they call it like by behavioral questions. I had questions like, teach me something new in the next 1 minute. What is your favorite medical person like in the last 200 years? And what is your favorite medical discovery? What do you think about medical experiments that were conducted in the past and stuff like that? Like you can answer that, but still it's not something that you expect to be asked on your interview. So I had some strange situations, but I think it went good. They're all pleasant. They all just want to meet you, to talk with you. It's just how you actually handle the situation and answer the questions.
Mhm. Yeah, they always say to be the person they want to be in your program and not just the physician. So I think it's so important to, get comfortable. And, the first interview is almost always going to feel nervous and stiff, but it's great to hear that you're able to relax and ease into the process and, really thrive in that environment.
Yeah.
Was it
I just
difficult? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to add now when you mentioned the personality, I was actually told on many interviews, more than two, I don't know the exact number, that they ask for a certain personality to fit good in a team. And they were actually not so concerned about the scores because specifically IMGs, we are also concerned about our STEP scores. That's important not to be filtered out, but I think most of the programs are looking in our application as a whole, and they want to read our personal statement, they want to read our CV, they want to meet us and to learn more about us as a person. So on many interviews, they told me that that's what they're looking when interviewing, a person who's going to fit well with the team, with them, who's going to be a good team worker, who's going to help another students and other residents. And I truly believe that's very important. So I think when somebody asks me for advice, I always say just try to put a lot of effort in your personal statement and in your ERS CV, because scores are just the part of application. That's not the thing that gets you the spot and the interview, at least my opinion.
Yeah. And a lot of times, if they're interviewing you, they already think you have the credentials. So they're really just seeing what you're like as a person at that point. So did any of the people interviewing you bring up specific things in your personal statement, for example?
Yes, they did. So in my personal statement, I mentioned that I traveled a lot and I had many different exchange programs during my studies. I spent a few months in Poland, Mexico, Egypt, and some clinical exchange programs. And I also got a lot, which I was really surprised. So something that I was thinking, it's my red flag, is the thing that since I graduated in 2019, I was working in US non-medical jobs, completely not related to medicine, to finance my USMLE. And I consider that to be my biggest red flag, because I was out of the medicine and I was working something that it's absolutely not going to help me during residency. And every single interviewer at every single interview asked me about it, and they were extremely impressed by it. So that ended up being my strong point, which I was really surprised. And they asked me about all the positions and all the workplaces where I worked and what I have learned from that. So I'm very happy to see that they truly look in the whole application as a whole, and they're interested in hearing your story and the reasons behind your choices. So I was very happy when I was asked about it.
Do you feel comfortable sharing like what field you were in during that period of time?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So it's a bit a longer story, but in my country we have some program which is called Work and Travel Program, which you can participate when you're a student, only when you're a student, and then you apply to that program and you spend 5 months in US working very different jobs. So I was a participant in that program 2 times, 2 summers when I was a student. So I already have employers that knew me. That's the way how I got the job. I didn't just go to US and find the job. So they already knew me because I worked 2 summers with them. So then after I graduated, they were willing to sponsor me visa because they needed employees and they already knew me and had experience with me. So they sponsored me visa, and then I came back. I worked because that's usually those are seasonal jobs. So during the season, during the summer, I had one kind of job. Then during winter, I had another kind. Then also I was leaving US because of the visa, so I was back home. So it was not a continuous working. I worked in a hotel on many different positions. It's a hotel on a beach, which is really nice. I was working on an island, which is also really nice. I was surrounded by beaches. I was working as a housekeeper, as a hostess, as a receptionist, as a laundry person, like every single position that you can have in a hotel. then during the season, the best possible job on that island was waitressing. So I was working as a cocktail waitress 2 seasons, also hostess in another restaurant. Then I was working as a babysitter part-time. Then I was working even in Stop and Shop as a grocery bag person. I don't know, I didn't like that. I left it after 5 days. That was the worst experience. And I worked in a retail store first as a sales associate, then I became senior sales associate, then I became a manager, and I'm actually still a manager there online. So that was quite a nice experience because I could work even online because that store has a website and it's a really nice retail store. I really like it. So I worked there, I don't know, every year for I think more than 5 months. I'm not sure, depending of the season. And I don't know, maybe some other jobs. I can't really remember everything, but yeah.
So it sounds like they were very curious about that diversity of
Yeah.
experiences that you had, and it's probably not the most common thing that they would see in
Yeah.
an applicant. So it turns out that maybe you were able to leverage your ability to work in different environments and always be adaptable and work in different parts of teams. So
Yeah.
it sounds like it worked out in
Exactly.
your favor.
Yeah. And I'm happy for it. And I did do rotations in US between jobs. So it's not that I was just working this. I was in medicine, always in some aspect. For example, I did rotations in Florida and Chicago. Then I was writing some review articles by myself. So it's not that I was completely cut off medicine. I was just not working in a hospital in that matter. That's
And
it.
how did you find the rotations and what sort of experiences were they?
So for me personally, it was very hard to find rotations, mostly because of the pandemic, because I applied to 2 different hospital centers and I actually got accepted, but then they just shut down all the observerships due to pandemic. So I had to find something else. So I did both of my rotations in private practices. But at the end, I was very, very satisfied by those rotations because one of which was in Florida for 2 months. It was a family medicine clinic, and it was a hands-on, which I really liked. So we were not just observers, we were seeing patients, we were making the plan, we had our account in EMR, so we were typing the notes, we were discussing patients, we were ordering labs, imaging, everything. So I did find it very valuable. And also I want to add, from that rotation, I got 2 letters of recommendation from family medicine physicians for internal medicine. So I did ended up matching in internal medicine with 2 family medicine physician letters and 1 internal medicine physician letter. So I really enjoyed that rotation. And then I did 1 month in Chicago, also private practice. And I actually find out about that doctor because he's from my country. And I found out he has a private practice, and I just contact him over the email, and he answered that he has a bunch of students doing rotations there, and I can just come. So I had 1 month there, and I also found it very helpful. They didn't use EMR; they did everything on papers, which was very strange, but it was really nice. So I ended up having 3 months of rotations, which I think it's enough for application, and I got 3 letters of recommendation. And I believe my letters really helped me to get interviews because on 2 of my interviews, they actually commented that my letters were very good and they wanted to meet me after reading those letters.
Yeah, so it sounds like you were in a little bit more intimate of an environment where you're actually able to work one-on-one or, directly under the person that's actually writing the letter. So they're
Yeah.
probably able to really speak to your personality and your skills and abilities and your intended pursuits. That's something people don't think about a lot of times is if you're applying to internal medicine,
Yeah.
you need that family medicine physician to recommend you to internal medicine, not just any specialty if possible. That way you're applying with essentially 3 specialty specific letters, one of which was obviously from the IM physician, and then 2 of which are recommending you for internal medicine. So that's very well done, and it sounds like it worked in your favor, certainly.
Yeah.
Was applying with for visas um, a challenge at any point, or how did that play into your whole process?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't go into details because my visa process is completely unrelated to this medical thing. So I don't think people are going to find it helpful. But yes, it was very challenging. I was on J1 visa twice, but that's a different J1 visa than this physician visa. It's like a temporary work visa, but different kind. I don't know. Then the second time when I was on J1 visa, I applied for change of status to B1, B2 because I wanted to stay longer. I had a lawyer and everything. Then after 3 months, I wrote in a letter that I want just to stay 3 months longer. Then after 3 months, I didn't get a response. So I left the US and I got a response 3 months later, which is a denial just because when my case came, they saw the information that I already left USA. So that means that I just quit my request. So it's actually not denied. It's just that I don't know. Then afterwards, I applied for B1, B2 that I got denied in my embassy. That was the end of the world. And then when I was on my way back home, they called me to go back to the embassy to have another conversation, which is, I think, 1 in a million times case that happened. And then I went back to the embassy and they actually approved my B1, B2 for 10 years. I don't know how that happened. It's still a mystery for everybody.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Then I had to apply to H2B because one employer wanted to sponsor H2B. It's like 8 months contract. It's a long story. Then I was on many different visas. And last time when I was here, I also had to apply for extension because my work visa expired and then I had to stay on my B1, B2 visa. So I applied for extension once more because my step 3, I'm in Serbia for the last 2 months and I still didn't get a response for that extension, and I have to apply for H1B visa. So I have no idea how that's gonna be. My lawyer is gonna love me for sure, but yeah. So my visa history, it's very complicated, very complicated. But I did everything legally, so everything is in order. It's just complicated to explain.
Well, I hope that everything works smoothly for the H1 and you're able to secure that without any problem, with no second calls back to the embassy.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, you mentioned research, but what is your vision for how you want to impact medicine or what you're really interested in pursuing in the long term?
So that's a very difficult question because I'm not 100% sure which fellowship I want to pursue. I think I want to give myself a time during the residency to be 100% sure. Now I find a few topics interesting and a few fellowships, but I just can't be sure now at this moment. What I know is that I'm very interested in education and I would really like to do more for educating medical students and other residents. And then later on, when I'm older, I hope to become a professor or anything in that kind. I would really like to continue teaching. That's something that I really enjoy. And I really enjoy making lectures and quizzes and everything like that. That's what I'm doing with social media, which is now small. It's just social media, but I would like to be able to do that in person. So that's definitely something that I'm interested in. And also, I don't have a lot of experience in research, but I did publish a few papers, and now currently I'm working on 3 more with different people. And I think I'm learning and I'm getting into it and I'm getting faster and faster. So that's something that I definitely want to improve. So when I have some very interesting topic in mind or something that I want to do research on, I will be able and I will have skills to do that by myself. So teaching, research, and definitely fellowship later on. Those are my like 10-year goals, but we'll see. I always like to go step by step and not to look a lot ahead because things change all the time. So I don't know what's going to happen in 1 year. But we'll see. Now the residency is my primary goal, to survive residency.
Definitely. What is the top advice that you give somebody who is starting the application process for the upcoming cycle based on the experiences that you've had in this last season?
So it would definitely be, just from my personal experience, not to listen to other people who are discouraging them. They just have to move forward and to believe in themselves, because if we were listening all the people around us, we would not get matched, we would not apply, we would not do anything. So just listen to yourself and believe in yourself. and there's going to be obstacles, and everybody are having obstacles. So don't quit. If you decide, and if that is your goal, just go for it. If it takes 1 year, 2 years, or 10 years, it doesn't matter. Just go for it. It's going to be obstacles. You're going to feel depressed, alone, anxious. That's normal. Everybody are feeling that way. So just go for it. And next advice, and I'm just saying this because of my social media questions that I'm getting, don't be obsessed over scores. Like, scores are important, but not that important. Work on your CV and everything else. You can get matched even with low scores. So just don't obsess over the scores that much. And I don't know, that would be a piece of advice for me.
Absolutely. So how can people follow you? What's your Instagram so they can learn from you as you progress throughout your medical journey?
Yeah, so Instagram is Medicine Made Easy. I think it will be in description of the video, so you can find it. I usually just share notes, medical notes, but now when I start residency, I was thinking maybe to implement a residency experience. I'll see how I will maybe change a bit the profile. Now I'm usually posting just my notes and quizzes, and usually helping people to pass their exams, step 1, step 2, and guide through the process. But I believe I will implement a bit of a resident life, probably, we'll see, just to be comfortable with sharing my pictures, because I'm still not quite comfortable with that on that profile.
Perfect. Well, congratulations again. We're so happy for you, and we appreciate you taking the time to share all of your wisdom and experiences. And we wish all the best for everything that's to come.
Thank you so much. And thank you for helping all of IMGs on social media. Like, Metro Resident made a huge, huge difference in my journey. So thank you.